For this guide for Hanya, I'll be giving you her best relic, light cones, team comp, rotations, and her pros and cons. Here are her required materials and skill priority, for an overview on her kit. She gives speed, damage boost, attack, and a ton of skill points. For her Eidolons. For her E1, when an ally with Hanya's ultimate's effect defeats an enemy, her action is advanced forward by 15%, which can only be triggered one time per turn. At E2, after using her skill, her speed increases by 20% for one turn. At E4, her ulti duration extends for one turn. At E6, increase the damage boost effect of her talent by an additional 10%. For her best price to performance ratio, she is E0 sufficient. E1, E2 and E4 are her breakpoints. You don't need any higher than her E4 actually. How to build Hanya. For the body you want any main stats, but preferably defensive stats, but you may even go for useless main stats like effect hit rate if there's a ton of speed substat. For the boots you want speed only. Substat priority speed till 161, after that focus on effect res, HP percent or defense percent. Anything over 161 speed has very diminishing returns, but higher speed is still nice to have. Onto her relic set. It's very straightforward. Her best in slot will be 4-piece messenger for that 6% speed to hit 152 speed instantly with speed boots and the speed buff for your DPS, which will help quite a lot. 2-piece messenger plus musketeer is also fine, or any other random 2-piece set, but defensive set bonus is preferred. Overall, would just recommend players to slap on 4-piece messenger since Hanya is easy to build. And now for the planar ornament main stat, you want energy regen only, and for the orb you want HP percent or defense percent only. She has 3 planar ornament sets she can use. They're roughly all equal. The first is Fleet of the Ageless for the extra 8% attack buff for your team. Her second best is Broken Keel, especially with DPS like Blade, which doesn't scales on attack. This relic set will be your preferred option. And lastly, 5% energy regen boost set, but only use it if you're using light cones, which can give energy regen. Also with Hanya's ulti at a 100% uptime on your DPS. It will give out higher damage for your DPS unit, especially on her E4. Overall, it all comes down to which is easier to farm for your account and team comp. Now for Hanya's light cones, they're pretty much equal. It all comes down to your playstyle and team comp, where you may want a certain LC over another. At last place we have Carve the Moon, Chorus, and Planetary Rendezvous. These light cone synergies well. Only use Planetary Rendezvous if you're running her with physical DPS units. At 4th place we have Past and Future, if you have 2 skill point positive harmony units, for example, Hanya and Tingyun. With this light cone on Hanya, you'll require precise speed tuning with your DPS, and it totally depends on your team comp if it will work. This light cone is best with a single DPS unit. At 3rd place it's a 3-star light cone meshing cogs at S5, which synergies especially well with an E4 Hanya. It's really good as you can get a permanent 100% uptime buff on your DPS unit. Highly recommended, and it's way easier to use. Though you must run 5% energy regen set bonus too. Though I believe most players may not want to run this light cone, but it's a really solid option, which may even be her best in slot. 2nd place will be Bronya's signature LC, as it increases the wearer's energy regen rate by 10% and generate 1 skill point when her ulti is used. The 30% damage boost is very good, but same downside as Past and Future, but with an E4 Hanya you may be able to get a 100% ulti uptime. Her best in slot will be Dance Dance Dance. It's a very solid option and S1 sufficient, which helps your whole team and pretty much a guarantee with your DPS going 2 turns in one cycle with 0 downsides, unless you have both Bronya and Hanya together in the same team comp. You want to avoid this LC or with extremely slow DPS. Overall, don't stress out about the light cones, just use the one you prefer. And now for her team comp and rotations. Her best pair would be both Tingyun and Huo, which makes one of the best 4-star harmony unit for a single DPS buffer. She can also be used for a dual DPS team comp due to her talent, where she's pretty universal. For dual DPS team comps, you want Hanya, Topaz, Huo, Clara, or Jingyuan. For Imbibitor Lune with Bronya. It also works great since Imbibitor Lune is very skill point heavy, but 2 huge issues with this team comp is that a mono imaginary team with Silverwolf is more consistent. And with a future 5-star Quantum Harmony unit you don't need Bronya and Hanya anymore. For her pros and cons. Pros, she's S tier. She's easy to build. She's universal and F2P friendly. She's good with slow or fast DPS units and single or dual DPS team comps. She gives a ton of SP. She's on par with an E6 Asta. Cons: she spikes at E4. She's not needed with DPS, which doesn't scale speed or attack percent. She's still a budget unit. Tingyun has more uses. She's already heavily outscaled by Ruan Mei, and her value will drop even more in future when a future Quantum 5-star Harmony unit is out. So should you build Hanya? If you like her design? Yes. If you're lacking buffers for your second team? Yes. If you need more skill points for your team? Not really, due to a future 5-star Quantum Harmony unit. If you have an E6 Asta, she's not needed at all unless you're running a single DPS team comp, as Asta is still better for a dual DPS team comp. And that's it for this guide.